Hello everybody and welcome to my guide on obtaining the Lucid Nightmare Unicorn mount. It is one of the new mounts released as a puzzle for Legion, similar to the Fathom Dweller and the Riddler's Mindworm. Big thank you to the WoW Secrets Discord and Reddit and all the people involved in finding this because it is really cool. You begin the, chain to pick this up in Tallarni. You can fly up to this little tavern area up here, and you click on the inconspicuous note, and this starts the chain of events that lets you, trigger all of the other events. Once we've done that, actually, our first clue is heading to Ulduar. You have to end up in XT's room and running over to the back left-hand corner if you're facing XT, and click on this little gadget up here that I could not get to. This triggers the next part, which sets up a whole arena of lights. I ended up killing XT just so he didn't run over my pattern, I suppose. I was a little bit annoyed that he was even there. But once you've got your area sorted, you can just click on these to change the color of each of the bulbs. The pattern that you'll want to create is that of a gear, which is Memoron's symbol. I guess it's a Titan symbol. I'm going to be putting up some little bits and pieces to help you guys with this, but a few people have made some really nice diagrams. I'm just going to speed through it because this took me a really long time. The way that I found most helpful was picturing it as a grid and then counting. I think it was like 6 across from the middle, and then from there you can just create like a cross and then go diagonally, and eventually you'll create a gear. And it's pretty obvious when you've done it correctly, as you'll see, because then the entire thing just disappears. And you're left with 4 little red lights and a very underwhelming note once you've finally completed this. So as you can see, that little node appears, and the next place we're off to is AQ40. Once you've defeated the final boss, you can run back to the exit of his room and through to this little alcove up here, past the dragon NPCs. There'll be a small altar, and on that altar is a little mind larvae. You'll click on that and it'll start a game of Bejeweled. There have been a few different reports as to how to win this. Some people say you need to get a tentacle on the bottom, 2 rows of each row, so 6 tentacles in a row or something. Other people have just brute forced it and gone until they won. The way that I completed this was lining up, I believe, 5 of the brains. And I'm not sure if it has to be brains. I don't play Bejeweled, I've never even bothered to look up the rules, so I have no idea. But I lined up 5 brains, and then I was able to complete the game. It'll signify pretty obviously when you've completed the game. There'll be a bunch of purple smoke and lightning and everything, and then a little scroll will appear, just like that, right next to the mind larvae. And you can click on that to begin the next section of the riddle, which involves heading to Deepholm. Before you do this step, you will want to obtain the green item Shadow Weave Mask. This is it used to be a vanilla crafted pattern from Tallarni that was recently reintroduced to the game. It drops from Dark Iron Dwarves, I believe, in the Burning Steppes and whatnot. Or you can just buy it off the auction house, or find a really nice tailor who will make it for you if you collect the mats for them. That's what I ended up doing. But either way, you'll want to have that on your person when you enter this little cave down by Therazane's throne. There'll be that little fissure that you can click on. You come down here, you equip the mask, and you can talk to the skull. I actually forgot to equip my mask the first time I did this, so you'll want to have that on and then go down there. And then it'll give you yet another scroll, seeing a pattern here, that will take you to the next section or unlock the next section of the riddle. This for Alliance players is a lot easier because you can just port straight to Ironforge because we are going to the gnome capital, or previous known capital. Once you're in the instance, and you do have to actually enter the instance yourself, or itself rather, you go down and you find this section of consoles, and you'll input a certain number that I don't have written down but I'm going to put on this video into each console, and then once you've done that correctly, and you can use a macro to interact with each of these, I did not, but once you've done that correctly they'll disappear, and then we're heading to Valshara. You'll want to go where Wraith Talon spawns and into the house, and then you can interact with this little like nightmare globule thing that's pretty gross, and then we get to see everybody's favorite tree infesting brain thing, Il'gynoth. This is yet another puzzle. So this one, again, zoom into first person because it makes it way easier. And you have to untangle each of these lines. They want to turn blue so that they're not interacting or crossing with any other line. To do this, you can click on them and then move them, like, I guess click one of the balls and then move it with the other ball to untangle it. And eventually what will happen, and you'll start to see, is that there's like 4 or so different sections that you have to untangle. The whole thing will actually end up as like 4 or 5 different shapes. And eventually you'll get the hang of it. It took me a little bit at first to see the pattern, and then once I did, it was pretty quick. But once you've completed that, another scroll will appear. Surprise! And then we'll move on to the next section. This next section actually involves heading to Kunlai Summit. We want to go into one of the little Mogu tombs, and inside that tomb you will interact with an urn, and this is probably everybody's least favorite part of this entire riddle. The endless holes. It's a maze. You will enter it, and it's a small section of like a Mogu like tomb area. You guys will have seen it before if you played in Miss, but every single room is the same, with the exception of the fact that certain exits are blocked off and in other rooms they're not blocked off. The objective of this maze is to find 5 different flames, which are shown on that altar there, and you'll see in a minute, and 5 different runes, and to connect the flame with the rune. So you pick up the flame and you take it to its corresponding rune. As you can see, every single room has 4 potential exits. They're not always going to be available to you, and I very much suggest mapping this as you go along. I used Excel, and I'm going to include my map in this video, but there are a few rules that it follows. You can only carry 1 flame at a time, and as you can see here, I did try it for science. So you can only carry 1 flame at a time. The rooms go up and down in level, and the levels do not matter. At least as far as I could tell. The rooms will never intersect with one another, so they can't cross over the other, and you can't have like multiple levels on top of each other. So the maze will always like the levels don't matter, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say. But once you've connected all of the different colors and you freak out like I did thinking, what happened? Did it bug out? Did I just spend 3 hours in here to no avail? You do have to actually exit the room. And I'm not sure. I think you can go through whatever exit tickles your fancy. And then you'll be taken to a bright, colorful, warming section of this maze. And there will be an altar that you can click on with the note. But a couple other things to mention about that maze is that it takes a long time, and it is very frustrating, and mapping is honestly your best effort. Once you have completed this, we're going to the Forgotten Crypt in Karazhan. A lot of you may have heard of the Upside Down Sinners. Previously, this place was blocked off. Like, for the longest time, you could only get into it by glitching through it. and I used to have a character logged out down here that doesn't exist anymore, I don't think. But anyway, you go through, wander around, don't take the wrong path like I did, and go to the pile of bones. There is a loot chest, and you finally get your Lucid Nightmare mount. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. I've tried my best to be A, concise, B, as clear as possible, but this is a long amount of effort for this mount. So if there's anything else that I can help you guys with, please let me know in the comments. Otherwise, enjoy. This was really fun for me. I really love this kind of stuff. And congratulations on your new mount.